Welcome back, everybody. Today, I'm going to be talking about the 5 stages of cultural adaptation. Now, why am I talking about this? This is relevant if you have ever lived in a new country and adapted to a new culture, or whether you've had a relationship with somebody who's come from another country, or even a friendship, or even managed someone who in your team might have come from overseas. And originally, I used to teach this as part of a leadership and management module, but there's just so much that's relevant to relationships and personal relationships, especially now with the world being so easily accessible. And I've lived in London, New York, and Sydney, and Melbourne, and there's a lot of people there that have come from overseas and different cultures, and they could be in any one of these 5 stages. So it's just a brilliant thing to know, I think. Okay, so the first stage is the honeymoon stage, and the person's really excited. They're just so into the new country, the new culture, maybe the new language, the new foods. They want to go out, they want to experience everything. If you're in a relationship with them, they might be just absolutely into your new culture. Tell me about that. Tell me about your rituals. Tell me about everything that you do that's different. Oh, let's try that food. Oh, wow, this is wonderful. I'm so excited to try everything. And that's why it's called the honeymoon phase. At work, these people will be really, into socializing, up for everything. And you might find, wow, this is a really nice, high energy person to have around. The second stage is disorientation. Now, this is sometimes when the cultural differences start to matter and they become a bit more highlighted. These could be so simple, such as, in a place they use a metric system and here they don't, or we use centigrade and here they use Fahrenheit, and this is all just so confusing, or just quite simply a cultural behavior, such as, once many years ago I was at managing a team, and there was a beautiful young Italian girl who used to come in every morning and kiss everyone on the cheek, and one of the Australian older men didn't like that, and he was actually teased for it because his team said there could be worse things than an Italian beautiful chick in the morning coming and giving you a kiss. But I had to speak to her and say that if somebody doesn't want that behavior, it may not be culturally appropriate here. And she became very withdrawn. So some of the characteristics you may notice in the second stage of disorientation is that people are starting to feel a bit withdrawn, sometimes sad, even aggressive. I've even seen people get aggressive because they question whether they made the right decision. Okay, so what's the next stage? The next stage is reintegration. This, again, is when they are noticing that there are differences, and there is a little bit of feeling hostile. They feel disempowered, and like some of the language that I've heard is, I feel trapped, like I'm here for a period of time. And especially if you're going overseas for a work secondment, you may feel trapped because you may have signed a contract for a few years, and you're almost sort of forced to adapt to a new culture when you're not feeling that you want to, or you're feeling homesick and you're almost like counting the days. So how does this manifest in a relationship? This looks it's usually where a lot of relationships with people of different cultures break down, because one person is really struggling and the other person is taking it very personally and thinking it's about them. Usually it's just when somebody needs a lot more support. Okay, the fourth part of it is integration and adjustment. Now, this is the place where a person starts to realize, I've done this, I'm here for a while. I'm talking about time here. People can go through these different stages in different periods of time. For some, they can go through it in months, weeks, some may even skip a stage, but for some, it could take years to get here. When they're in the integration and adjustment phase, which is the fourth phase, they do feel this quiet confidence and, a sense of peace. And one of the things I heard a lady say was, what I knew was, if I move anywhere now, I can make it. It's just this knowing that you can do it. And it's just really empowering. So what's the final stage? The final stage, the fifth stage, is independence and biculturality. Now, what does that mean? What does biculturality mean? It means that you're embracing two cultures, and it's a really fantastic place to be. You identify as English and Australian, or Arabic and American, and you just get to this place where you've been there long enough, you've been through the 5 stages, and your productivity at work, your creativity is through the roof, and you in a relationship are in a place of just self-empowered love. It's a place where you realize you don't have to choose between being this or that you can embrace everything that is good about both. And that's a place that if you can manage to support your friendships and relationships and your people at work to this stage, they will surprise you. So I hope that's been useful. I found it really fascinating when I first learnt this, and I really was passionate about sharing this with you.